Happy New Year, fiber friends. Welcome to another episode of the Knit, Knot, and Weave podcast. My name is Dorothy, and I am coming to you from Columbia, Maryland. This is my little corner of the YouTube where I share and document my Fibery adventures. That could be anything from knitting to crochet to spinning and weaving and yarn dyeing, or any other crafty rabbit hole that I go down. So, if that sounds like something you are interested in, grab a cup of something to wet your whistle with, grab a project that you can work on while you share in this episode, and let's get started. So hello, fiber friends, and Happy New Year. I am hoping that your 2025 has gotten off to a good start. I am basically here to just wrap up the stats from 2024 with you guys and share my 2025 goals that I am going to work towards. So before we get started, if you would like to find me out on social media anywhere, here is the list of areas where you can find me. I am on Instagram as Knit, Knot, and Weave. I have a Facebook page for Knit, Knot, and Weave. I have a Ko-Fi account for Knit, Knot, and Weave, and that would help me with shipping out prizes and things. And if you want to friend me on Ravelry, you will find me as Phelia, Pheelya. And of course, there is also my Gmail account if you want to contact me privately. So let's get on to the good stuff. So first off, to wrap up 2024, I made 36 projects. I completed 36 projects. But of those 36 projects, several of them had several pieces. So I actually technically finished 75 items in 2024. So what did I make? I made 30 scrubbies, 6 blankets, both full size and baby blankets. It's all in one. 7 different headwear items, be it hats or headbands, 6 scarves, 3 shawls, 9 little stuffies, 1 sweater, 1 cardigan, 1 top, 2 pairs of socks, and 2 ponchos. So the yardage that I used in 2024 was 31,003 yards. So I hit my goal of using 30,000 yards in a year. Of all the items that I made, remember, one of my goals from last year was to shop more from my stash. So of these 75 items, only 3 did not use stash yarn. So only 3 of the 75 items that I made, I had to purchase yarn for. One was the Tetris blanket. One was the glow-in-the-dark yarn for the Howly Ghosts. And one was the one skein that I brought back from the yarn swap and immediately made a double brimmed hat with it. So all in all, I think that was pretty good. So I hit 2 of my goals from last year. I shopped more for my stash, and I hit my 30,000 yards. The other 2 goals that I hit was I finished my granny stripe blanket, which is right back here. I finished this up in, I think it was January or February I finished this. And I finished my sister's Tetris blanket in time to give it to her for Christmas. So that's where a lot of my 30,000 yards came from. Let's see, goals I did not hit. I did not reorganize my stash. I did not make 12 pairs of socks. And I did not make 12 different woven items. I was hoping to get one woven item and one pair of socks done a month. That didn't happen. So, of the 31,000 yards, it was broken down. 46% of that yardage was in my blankets, 12% was in shawls, 9% was in ponchos, 6% was in a cardigan, 6% in scarves, 5% in hats, 5% in dad's sweater, 4% to my granny tee, 3% to the stuffies or the toys that I made, 2% to home items, and 2% to socks. Hopefully that socks percentage will go up this year. And then the other way I broke it down was, of the 75 items, half of them were for me personally, for either me to wear or me to use in my house. 31% went to 31% of the items that I finished were gifts for family or friends, and those were mainly Christmas gifts. 14% of what I made were donations, be it hats that we donate to local Title I elementary schools, or if they were shawls or little Afghan blankets that were donated to senior centers. And then 5% of what I made went into the gift box. Now, I'm sure some of you are saying, Dorothy, why do you have gift box and gifts separated? Well, the gifts were items that I specifically made and finished for a specific person. So that was their Christmas gift, their birthday gift, whatever. My gift box are small items that I make throughout the year, and I throw them in there. And if someone has done something nice for me, or if someone is having a stressful time in their life, I have something that I could possibly give them to cheer them up or to thank them for it. Or if I need a last minute gift because maybe a cousin or a niece is bringing a new person to one of our dinners and I have gifts for everybody, I can run and grab maybe a hat or a scarf for whoever this other person is. So that wraps up 2024 for me. I'm feeling very good about what I've done in 2024. I am super pleased that I finished the 2 blankets. And I think I am most proud of the sweater that I knit for my dad out of everything that I've made this year. I was super, super pleased to find that it had fit him perfectly. And he was not here to try it on throughout the whole process. So I'm very, very pleased with myself in that regards. So what are my goals for 2025, you ask? Good question. I do have several goals. Some of them are a repeat because, goals, we still try to achieve them, whether it takes 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, or 10 years. It all depends on what your goal is. So my first goal for 2025 is definitely to focus on reorganizing my craft room and going through and reassessing and reevaluating all my yarn. I have started. I have ordered some shelving units from IKEA to help me transform the space in my craft room. I need to get rid of the current desk that is in there, and I want to bring in my IKEA desk that is in my bedroom and put it in there, and that will give me more space in my bedroom. I need to get rid of a chaise lounge that is in there because I'm not going to have room for it. And I want to be able to organize it so that I can use my floor loom when I need to, and I don't have to pull it out of a corner. And what else? I have ordered shelving from IKEA that should be here next Monday, January 20th. So what did I order from IKEA? I ordered a corner Billy bookcase unit, which is basically 3 of the smaller Billy bookcases. I think they're 16 or 15 inches wide. So it's 3 units and they go into the corner. And I added on 2 doors because I don't know if I'm going to be able to put a door on the unit that is actually like in the catty corner, in the middle of that. But I'm hoping that I can put doors on the other 2 sides because I do want to put all my yarn on those shelves so that I can see it and yet it will be somewhat protected. So aside from that, I also bought a 2 unit of Billy bookcases with the glass doors to put beside it. So almost one full wall will be Billy bookcases, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to put all of my yarn in those bookcases, at least all of my good yarn in those bookcases, and it will be more visible to me because I am finding that one component of my ADHD, at least for me, not everybody has the same symptoms, quirks, I don't know what you would really call them, but the more I'm reading about it, the more I'm definitely an out of sight, out of mind type. So even though I have my stash all up on Ravelry, it still doesn't help me to figure out what I can use. And then I also need to get past this notion that I have in my head, like if a pattern requires 500 yards and I have, I don't know, 700, and I think it would work really well together, but then I feel bad because I'm going to have 200 yards that are left over and that's going to be a waste and I shouldn't waste it. I need to get over that because all that leftover yarn can go into scrap projects. So I do have a list of several different blankets that I would like to make with scrap yarn. So hopefully that will allow me to delve even deeper in utilizing my stash. So my second goal is to continue to use my stash, continue to shop for my stash first in order to make the projects that I want to make. As I am reorganizing my yarn, I do want to pull out and separate everything that I have a sweater's quantity of so that I could see it visually, and I would probably put it in weight order so that when I have a pattern I really want to make, I can see what I have available in a sweater quantity's worth of yarn. This third thing I would really like to do for myself is I want to keep track of how many grams come in and out, or how many grams I use versus how many grams I purchase per month. Of course, my goal is to have more go out than come in. I am not putting myself on a strict no buy because that just doesn't work for me. I think subconsciously, as soon as I hear, no, I can't do that, I will break that. But by giving myself an out, I think I can focus more on working through what I have and really only buying what I need, or when I go to festivals, maybe bringing some specific patterns with me and buying more with intention. I definitely, when I first got into knitting and crocheting a number of years ago, I would just randomly buy things that I liked, things that felt good, things that I liked the colors of without knowing what I would make, and I wasn't making sweaters at the time. I thought that was way out of my range, and I was much heavier, so it would have costed me a small fortune. Not that it doesn't cost other people a small fortune to knit homemade sweaters, but for where I was in my life, I couldn't do it. So I bought a single skein here, a single skein there. So aside from pulling out some of the sweater quantities that I have, I would like to try and see what yarns maybe would work together so that I could do maybe some striped cardigans or pullovers, maybe doing some that might fade, if there are any colors, any skeins that I have that would work well as a fade. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of ways that when I go through and organize my stash, I can look at some of my single skeins and figure out ways to utilize them better than just a hat or a scarf or a pair of mitts. Another thing I want to do this year is I would like to focus more on patterns that I already own. I have a collection of patterns that I've already purchased on Ravelry, and I have a nice collection of books that have several patterns in them that I have been wanting to make, just never seem to get around to it. So I'm definitely focusing on using my library and my pattern books more this year. I would like to try and make more charity items this year. I think I want to break out my little, I shouldn't say little, but my, my God, brain fart. My Addy knitting machine, the big circular machine, and make more hats for donations. And I think I want to go through my acrylics and see when I have enough to make either baby blankets for Project Linus or maybe some lapgans that can be donated to senior centers for folks that are in wheelchairs, or maybe military hospitals where folks are in wheelchairs and their legs could be cold, and get more of that good thoughts and good prayers and good intentions out in the world. And I would also, and I know my friends that are watching this are going to just laugh and laugh when I say this, but I want to start knitting my Christmas gifts earlier this year. I know, I hear you all laughing. I say this every year, but I have already made a list. So here's my little knitting notebook where I keep track of things that I do throughout the year. And I have I've already created my grid for my grams in and out, a sheet for my goals that I can check off when I get to them. Oh yeah, I made myself a little coloring page so that I can try and hit my 30,000 again. Every skein that's on my little shelf here is equal to 500 yards. So every time I knit or crochet up or weave up 500 yards, I get to color in a ball. That's a little visual encouragement for me. What was I talking about? Oh yes, Christmas gifts. So I've started a list already for my family and ideas of what things I would like to make them for Christmas. I did a lot of big items this year. I did 2 sweaters and 2 blankets. So next year is probably going to be a lot more smaller items. It's probably going to be another year of socks with a sweater for one of my nieces and the blanket for one of my nieces. And then lastly, I would really like to try and grow this community and my channel a little bit more this year. I am hoping to try and get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. That is what I'm shooting for. So that means I have to be more diligent and more, what am I trying to say? Thought just flew right out of my head. I need to be more organized with my recordings. I need to be more, I need to not manage. What am I trying to say? I need to try and be more reliable in putting out my videos. And I'm thinking every 2 weeks. So those are all my knitting and crocheting goals. I do have a few spinning goals because I want to I want to hone my spinning skills to get better. So one of the things I need to do is I need to do an inventory of my fiber stash. I had downloaded my stash from Ravelry into an Excel spreadsheet, and I was hoping that it would also download, I think I have 1 or 2 fiber items in the fiber stash that's on Ravelry, but apparently when you download your stash, it didn't download the fiber portion of that. So I was really hoping to see what things, what things across the board I might want to document in regards to my fiber stash. If you have a fiber inventory that you keep track of, I would love to hear what things you have on your tracker. I'm assuming I would want, like, so let's see, the name, who dyed it, how much it weighs, whether it's comb top, Rolags, or bat, or roving, because roving and top are 2 different things. Maybe the name of the color, and maybe what color attributes are in it so I could see in the spreadsheet what the base is or what the blend is. And I think that's all I would probably really need for a fiber inventory. Yeah. If you have a fiber inventory and I missed something, let me know what I'm missing that you think would be beneficial for me to add to a fiber spreadsheet to do inventory. I would like to try and spin for 20 minutes a day, at least 5 days a week. If I have the time and I can do 7, that would be great. But we all know things happen. Things occur on the weekends. We go away on the weekends. Sometimes we have a long night at work or we're sick, whatever. But my goal is to shoot for at least 20 minutes a day, 5 times a week. And I'm told that should definitely help improve my spinning. I want to track how much fiber I spin per month. So I'll probably do another grams grams in and grams out, or grams spun up. I don't know. I'm probably going to really limit my fiber purchasing, with the exception of festivals, and spin more. That's the hope, right? We want to use what we already have. 3 things I would like to do with my spinning. I would like to spin enough that I could use the yarn to make a nice shawl. I would like to spin thin enough And I would like to try and shoot for a 3-ply sock yarn and then knit a pair of socks with it. If I can't spin thin enough for a 3-ply, then a 2-ply sock yarn. And then the third thing I would like to do with some of my spun up skeins is to weave with it. So there we have, there's 3 things I want to do with my hand spun this year. And then the other thing I want to do with my spinning is me and 2 other friends in my knitting group who are also spinners. We've decided that we're going to do a breed study this year. So I went through and I found places to purchase various different tops of different breeds of sheep. And they all came in right before Christmas break. So over Christmas break, I was able to split them all up. And everybody gets between 20 and 25 grams for each top that I purchased. I let them know I didn't weigh them because there was no way I was weighing every single one of these. I just opened up the braid, split it in half, and then split them in half again. So they each will have between 20 and 25 grams for each breed. Now we have 86 samples that we're going to be using. Now 86 samples does not mean 86 different breeds. A couple of these breeds are naturally in several different colors. And we wanted to see if the color of the breed has any impact on the fiber that it makes. So there are, like BFL has a brown, an oatmeal, a gray, a white, the same with merino, same with Finnish, Shetland, and there's a few others that have several natural colors in their breeds. And I can say, at least just from splitting up all these samples, that there's definitely a textural feel difference between some of the different colors in the breeds. So some feel just slightly coarser or slightly thicker or slightly smoother. So it's going to be interesting to document how they spin up differently. I would probably spin up the same breed at the same time. So if I do BFL, I would probably do all of them at once. I would pull all the BFLs, like the brown, the gray, the oatmeal, the white, I don't even know if there are any other, dark brown, whatever, and do all those samples at one time so that I could really feel the difference, right, like very close together. So that's probably the first thing I'm going to do with my breed study, is pull together and package up the same breeds in the different colors so that I could do that together. I have not decided what I'm going to do with all that spun yarn in the end. I might make it something woven. Maybe I'll knit something up. I haven't decided. Someone had asked me when I posted on Instagram if I was thinking of dyeing the samples before I spun them, and I don't think I'm going to. I think I really want to, I feel like dyeing, and since I do acid dyes, there is some change that, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to kick the cord. I feel like there are definitely some changes that can affect the fiber when you add dyes and acids and things like that. So I don't think I'm going to dye them up before I spin them. I may dye them up afterwards once it's in yarn form for whatever I decide to do with all these samples. What else can I share? Oh, we did create, one of the girls, or one of the women that's doing this, created a sheet for us to document each one of the breeds, and an area where we could probably put a little bit of the fluff so that we can show the staple length, where we could do a 2-ply sample and a 3-ply sample, and post it to the paper, and probably a large section just for notes and stuff. There is somebody working hands, I think it is, on Instagram that I see a lot of their reels, and they have like a little mini weaving machine. My girlfriend said it was a bead weaver, or a bead, yeah, I think it was a bead weaver. I don't know. It's a mini little weaving machine, and I've seen that this person, when they do their little breed studies or their little samplings, they make a little woven patch that they put on their sheet as well. So I was thinking I might try and do something like that, but they spun like super thin yarn, and I'm not at that point, so I don't know. One of my girlfriends is going to loan me her pinwheel loom, and maybe that might be a way to go for me to make a little, oh gosh, I am so sorry, to make another sampling. And so that's the breed study, and I will be sharing that with you all. And that is my spinning goals. Now, my personal goals for me, again, I don't make resolutions. I make goals, things that I work towards. So one thing I do want to get back on track with is my workouts. I want to get back to going 3 to 4 times a week to my kettlebell gym. I really want to try and focus on meal planning on the weekends, cooking 2 or 3 meals over the weekend, and then packaging them up and, leaving 1 or 2 in my fridge so that I could have breakfasts and lunches, and putting the rest in my freezer and just pulling them out. As I take one out of the fridge to eat, I will take one out of the freezer and let it defrost in the fridge. So that I always have 2 meals ready in my fridge on any given day. I am shooting for days that I don't go to the gym to at least get a 30 to 45 minute walk in, either at my desk at work on my walking pad, or when I come home in the evenings or on the weekends. I have a beautiful lake behind my house that I could walk around, and it's pretty much a 2-mile walk. So that would be a good 45 minutes of walking. So that's my goal. I do want to continue to read and learn about my ADHD, and I don't want to say coping mechanisms, but strategies that will help me to improve on things that I'm not getting done, if that makes sense. So part of that is obviously reorganizing my house. Part of that is reorganizing my craft room. I have to see things, otherwise out of sight, out of mind. And the last thing is I really want to try and be more positive this year. I want to try and focus more on the positives than the negatives. So I saw, believe it was Denise from Earth Tone Girls podcast who shared this, but I know I've seen a couple of reels on it, either on TikTok or Instagram, where at the end of the day you would, just basically write down a couple of things that were a positive impact, or things that you felt went well for the day, and you put it in a jar, and then on New Year's Eve you can sit down and read through all the positive things and remember all the positive that happened in the year. And so I think that will help me with my ADHD and my depression. So that's another goal, and that is it for all of my goals that I want to work towards in 2025. So the last thing I want to share with you guys is my Make 9 board, and I will put it right over here, and I will go through those with you now. So the first up is, and they're in no particular order, because as I am Looking at my notes here, I don't know if they are in the order of the grid that you're going to see here. But one box is I want to knit a gnome. Ideally, I would like to knit, and I know this is probably going to be a little out there, but I would like to try and knit 2 gnomes a month. One for me and one to put in an advent for my sister, because my younger sister is a big gnome person as well. And I thought that would be really cute for her to open one gnome at a time. Either if I can make 12, it might just be the 12 days of Christmas for her next year, where she would start and open one on Christmas Day, and every day after that, leading all the way up to the Epiphany, or what we Italians refer to as La Befana. Then you'll also hear a lot of my goals are on my Make 9 board. So I want to spin up and knit a shawl. One of the sweaters that I have on my Make 9 board is the Woodlark sweater. Beautiful, stunning sweater. I saw it on Ravelry, and then I heard Jana from Kim and Jana's podcast. And why can I not think of the name of their podcast? I will put that down below. But Jana made one and it looked stunning. And I have some Brooks Farms solo base in my stash that I'm using. I need to dye it a little deeper of a red, because right now it's more of an orangey red, and I think it needs more. I need more of a bluey red for my skin tone and my coloring, and I don't know if I can change that or if I'm going to wind up just adding blue and making it a purple. And then I will dye up some Suri alpaca to hold with it to make the woodlark. Then my niece's blanket, the Zigzag Zen blanket, which is basically color block blanket. So I already have all the blues. She wants it in blues. So I have a box of Bernat satin up in my closet that has 6 packs of white and then 6 packs of, I want to say maybe 3 or 4 different blues. So I think I'm going to use all of that for her blanket. And hopefully that will be enough, because I can't get that anymore. I do want to knit a lento this year. I want to weave with my hand spun. I want to crochet a tulip stitch blanket. I really like that stitch, and whether it be a baby blanket, a lapgan, or a throw, it's all going to depend on how many skeins of a color I have in my acrylics, because I mostly make my blankets in acrylic so that they are washable, especially if they're going to be donated or go to other people. I want to knit a Star Wars sweater for my brother-in-law. That's going to be his Christmas gift this year. And I'm going to stick with the colors that are in the picture, the gray and the black. I just don't know if it's going to be made out of superwash wool, non-superwash wool, or some sort of an acrylic blend. Probably a superwash wool or an acrylic blend. I don't think he will appreciate a full-blown wool sweater that needs to be hand washed, but we'll see. And then the last thing I want to get done this year is crochet a Wednesday doll for my niece Juliana. She has been having a hard time the last couple of months, and so I think this will be something to cheer her up. Other plans that I have for 2025 is in my little knitting book. I made a list. I went through all of my patterns, and I made a list of several hat patterns that I would like to knit up this year. I bought them. I may as well make them. Some of them are color work, so that would help me. That would help me get my color work down with the tension a little bit better. They are quick and easy projects when I'm doing longer projects like blankets or cardigans or sweaters or something. Sometimes I need something that's quick and that will give me that satisfaction of completion. And then I have a few smaller items that I want to knit this year. So I have the gnomes. I would like at some point to make a baby Yoda for my brother-in-law, who is a huge Star Wars fan. I would love to crochet a little Grinch stuffy for my niece Priya, because she is a big Grinch fan. And I do have my list of blankets. I have the blankets that I'm currently working on, which is my linen stitch blanket, which hopefully will get done this year. My jelly roll blanket, which again, hopefully will get done this year. My Blattenberg blanket, I don't think that's going to get done this year, but I'm hoping to get a significant portion of it done this year. And then a few other blankets that I have added to my list that I might want to try and start when I have finished a few of these blankets already. And I think that is pretty much it for my goals in 2025. Like I said, I have plans to record my craft room makeover and going through my stash. I am hoping to record. I've had a few people inquire about beginning spinning resources. So I'm gathering that together, and I want to make a video for beginning spinning resources that you might want, documenting and sharing the breed study with you guys if that is of interest. So maybe do some make-alongs this year. So we'll see. But so far, if you have enjoyed this episode, please give it a thumbs up. This really helps my algorithm. And if you would, and if you haven't yet, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and then hit that bell to get notified every time I upload a new video. This really does help my channel grow and get it out there in the algorithms to share with other folks who are interested in fiber content. Obviously, I love it when you guys leave comments. So comments are always welcome. If you have any questions on anything I've shared, you can ask me in the comments. Let me know what your goals are for 2025, be it knitting, crocheting, weaving, spinning, personal, whatever. What are your goals? What are you striving to complete this year? Yeah. So I think that is all I have for you guys today. I hope you have a fabulous, fabulous 2025. Let's all stay focused on the positives. Let's all root for healthy change in our country this year. And on that note, I am going to say good night. Ciao, ciao. Love y'all.